Make sure your phone and settings are off. When you hear your name, stand up. Please stand up.
Yeah.
And have a seat, remove your hat.
Super.
We have. Yeah.
Good morning. How's it going today? Zach has made it back again, 2 days in a row.
Well, Judge, stranger things have happened, Your Honor, but I'll take 2 days in a row.
Well, I hope you had a great Christmas.
I did. I really did. I stayed in town.
Well, our Christmas, it didn't start off great.
Oh,
What ends up happening is
yes, Your Honor. Let's hear
we
it.
woke up, right? And there were no Christmas gifts,
Oh,
not a single one.
not one, Judge?
No, but you know what Mom said? Mom said, you know what? We're still going to get up. We're going to be happy. We got up and we started singing. And then guess what ends up happening?
Well, I can't imagine.
This creature brought all our gifts back. And you know what he said?
What?
Maybe Christmas can't be found in a store.
What an interesting Christmas.
Yes. And he had Christmas with us. He, all in green, a talking animal at our table.
Well, I mean, now that you're sharing, Judge,
Yes.
I feel I should tell the truth about my Christmas.
Yes, please do.
Well, I woke up and I'm young. I can't be older than 10, 5, well, somewhere between the ages of 5 and 10. I'm young. And my whole family, they left on a vacation without me.
Oh my gosh, what did you do?
Well, I was home alone, basically. And once you know it, two men tried to break into my house.
Get out. I hope you set up booby traps for them.
You know, I've been dying to tell you, I'll make a home alone joke to you today.
All right, everyone, I'm going to call the docket. When I call the docket, you need to let me know you are here. Please stand when your name is called. If you do not answer, I'm going to assume you're not here and a warrant may be issued for your arrest. Renee Torres. In custody, we have Jacob Borrego, Nicholas Lopez, Joshua Patillo, Keenan Brown, Eric Gonzalez, Fräulein Guzman, Stephen Estrada, Cameron Lawrence, Christopher Davis, Stephen Acera. Stephen Acera. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Thank you. Okay, then Norma says I'm pronouncing it correctly, but then she puts a heavy accent on the R. I mean, I could take it. You could say, no, Judge, you're not pronouncing that correctly. Desiree Cook. Thank you. Andrew Garcia. In custody, we have Roberto Ramirez, DeAndre Shepard. Jacob Sanchez, custody, Leslie Cox. Derek Reyes. Thank you. George Santabenes. Norma Elizondo, custody, James Kennedy, custody. Luis Ramirez, custody. Luis Henry, custody. David Tabarez Perez. George Santabenes. Kevin Owens. Thank you. Renee Torres. Okay. Darwin Gomez. Nathan Cruz, custody. Rudo Pardo, custody. Jose Barrera. Ricardo Ramirez. In custody is Virginia Serna, Marcelino Padilla. Keith Hunt is in custody. Lucio Roa, Isaac Alcorta, Jasmine Gallegos, custody. Dylan Parker. Thank you. Is there anyone who came in late or your name was not called? All right, we'll start over here. What's your name? I'm sorry, Anthony what? All right, thank you. Yes. Jose what? Do you have a SID number or case number?
You know what I mean.
No, I can take care of them.
Okay, and I need the files on Anthony Woodard pulled.
Yes, they're on top of the cabinet. It's a pile of them.
1165 689.
All right, just have you had contact with your attorney? Who's your attorney? Jason Wolf? All right, just have a seat. He'll come back. Yes, your name?
He's with me.
Okay.
And,
All right, just a second. What's your name?
Sammy Bob.
Spell your last name. And yes, counsel.
Did you that cause number?
Cause number, SID number.
2023 CR 8868. And this is, we had talked about it being set in November of 2024 and you.
Oh, yes.
Especially setting it today, just bring it in.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
should
wasn't
be
set
set
for
in November
2024.
2024. All right,
I told you it was accidentally, it said 11 is supposed to be 01. So it's supposed
Okay.
to be January today.
all right. We'll pull the file. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else whose name has not been called? All right, everyone, these are the rules of the court. Please pay very close attention to these rules. Number one, cases that are not worked out should go into jury trial today. So a jury will be brought up by 11. Number two, when we're on the record, do not talk behind the court reporter attorneys. If you have someone who's in custody, just ask that they be moved to the end. Do not lean on her desk with anything because that equipment is very expensive. Over here, we have the CLO. Bashan, can you raise your hand? Do not crowd around her desk. Do not put your stuff on her desk. That's her office. Do not turn your back to her. Attorneys, you know the inmates come out of that door. Do not block that area. If you request an inmate, do not leave the courtroom because we can only have so few inmates in the box for security reasons. Do not approach the court coordinator or the clerk while we're on the record. If you do, I will ask you to sit down, and the court coordinator and clerk are not going to speak to you while we are on the record. The other thing, if your client wishes to speak in a language other than English, we will need an interpreter down, whether you speak the language or not. So if you need an interpreter, let the court coordinator know. Do not approach the court unless you have conferred with the state and conferred with your client. All right. So today is Tuesday. It's going to be a great day if we make it that way. So everyone be kind to each other and please confer. Yes.
I guess I missed Dr. Call. I have an Andrew Garcia's gonna be a plea and James Kennedy, we're gonna find out what he's gonna do.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, like this.
You also have Fido?
We're up in the air. Do I have part for that?
Yeah. Do you also have Fido?
Well, then we're just wrong.
They get him.
Let's see, we kept looking at it, and it's like this
He
chain.
filed it, but it hasn't gone through. Can you stamp this so I can refer to the judge on?
I have him for 10 o'clock.
Okay,
Research.
You know, that one got canceled. I sent you an email.
let's see. It's canceled, okay. Yes, you did, and that's what keeps on confusing us.
Oh, I'm getting confused.
That's okay. That's the worst that happens.
No, we didn't. confirm.
Okay.
No, sure. She's not gonna, let me see what kind of, what is it?
Yeah, he picked up 2 new charges.
She'll probably just. I think it's here.
Judge, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I filed a motion to withdraw on a retained client. He picked up 2 new charges. But apparently he BF'd this morning.
Who is it?
It's a guy named DeAndre Shepherd.
You went to go get your.
All right, so what I do is I usually give them till 10:30. If you want to drop back in at 10:30 and see if he's here.
Okay, will do. All right, thanks, Judge.
All right, thank you. Do you know who his bondsman is?
No, I don't. Cornelius is on his 2 new cases,
Okay,
but I haven't had any contact with the guy for about 6 months.
okay, so if you can, ask Norman to see who the bondsman is, maybe you can call the bondsman and hopefully he'll show up.
I'll have a roll call. We'll find out.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning. One person today.
Yeah. Fire back.
Mr. Rio has Warren Wolf, not Jason.
Okay, so if you can call Warren Wolf.
That's it. Easy peasy.
Next Tuesday.
Bring him over.
Make sure normal brings her dollar bill.
What?
My granddaughter said he goes chocolate county
Oh, okay.
next Tuesday. Good morning, Justice. I thought I was on.
Can you announce that any inmates that come out with a gallery not being looking to any of them?
Sure.
Hand gestures or anything, please?
All right, so are there any people in the audience who are here as support for someone? All right, so here's the rule, and I want you all to listen to me very carefully. If you try to communicate with an inmate in the box, you will be told to leave this courtroom. You will not be welcomed back. Does everyone understand? Whether you're a witness or not, you will not be giving testimony in this court if you do that, because that interferes with the security of this courtroom. Does everybody understand? So anybody who's on this side who is not a defendant, I need you to move to this side, and the defendants on this side move to the left side, but nobody sit on the first row. Thank you.
Any word? Yeah, are you ready to go?
Not on the one.
Yes.
But that's the limit. When we do. But Patillo is. But we're ready to. Patillo, Joshua.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's there.
Well, that rubber band exploded.
Do you need a new one, Justin?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Jose Riojas, come up here, sir.
All right, Joshua Patillo.
Come here.
Yes, come forward.
Start with you.
And counsel, you're on this side.
I'm sorry.
No, no problem. That's been changed for the new year. The deputies say that it's better for security that way.
Different view for me.
All right. So I believe there was a psychological, is that correct?
There was, Judge, he was recently brought back after being restored. The last setting, I don't remember if I addressed this with the court or not, because he was having some issues with his medication, which we got straightened out. And he seems to be much better today, talking to him, and he's feeling better. I do need to have him evaluated.
All right, could everyone please whisper?
I do need to have him evaluated for sanity at the time of the offense now that he's back and restored. So this case is, he was gone for so long, I don't recall specifically. If I had I usually make the request together.
Oh, well,
So-
see here, you know what usually ends up happening when you make the request together, they don't see the second
That's
request.
what I'm afraid happens. So I know that I can make an oral request to you.
Well, let me ask you this.
morning.
When did you request it at the same time? So that would have been in November?
Oh, no, this case has been pending. He
No,
was-
when I say November, I mean November 2021.
If I did, it would have been at that time.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do if there are no objections. I'm going to send an email to Judge Carruthers and let them know that a sanity evaluation was previously requested on this in November 2021. So hopefully that will have them rush things.
And if it turns out for whatever reason that did not get done, I usually do it, but I don't want to say 100% certain that I did it, because the one time I say that, it'll be the one time I didn't. But if you would like me to file a new request just for the sanity examination, I'm happy to do that, and I can do that this afternoon.
All right, just give me one moment. Mr. Patillo, if you'll have a seat. And if I could see both counsel in the back. seated. Oh, there's nothing for you to do. Oh, yeah, there's nothing for you can do. You can forward to Barbara, but there's nothing to do. Forward to Barbara. And Norma, if you can check with Warren Wolf for his client.
Yes, I did. I texted him. Judge.
And then there's somebody on Zoom, a Aztec.
I haven't had an attorney come in and ask him.
All right.
That might be getting ready to point it, because we did tell him 11, so I'm not quite sure.
Okay. I'll send a message.
This point.
Eric, in the back?
Oh, he's not brought up yet,
Okay.
but yeah. Come on. Second chair in the top. Is that-
And Norma, can you send me an email on our impact days?
It's actually the same, at the siding, what you sent me as well. But I will, what I'll do is I'll invite you to
All right.
my calendar. I'll send you the date.
I mean, it's a pretty terrible place for y'all.
Can I send it to you this afternoon, or do you want it right now?
I'm texting with the judge. Just 1 second.
That's 1 second.
Yeah, and she's already. Yeah. And that's. Except she didn't.
I'll write them down for you.
All right, thank you.
That's what I would say.
Work this out. Yeah.
Morning. Happy New Year. Got some resolutions to do that stuff. Hardest thing, right? I'm doing sugar, no added sugar. No.
I'm doing no sugar.
Oh, it makes you just.
Like not on it,
Oh. I've been on the record.
but I'm gonna do this.
Really?
If I think it's half there.
Appreciate you.
I did it last year, and it would make a huge difference. It just tends to be raining during the day. Right. Sweets and methamphetamines.
Yeah, live without it.
Go ahead, I'm waiting for the.
Thanks, Will. No, wait for Nathan Cruz. His state is- we need a short reset.
Okay, I'm waiting for him to come up.
Okay.
And then I will put it up there.
All right, thanks.
Go to the state first.
Here are the dates. This means ultimate, dividing, and there's just one more date.
Okay,
So it goes down the line, goes back up and then back.
okay.
Yeah. The alternate dates were gonna be down in the list.
No, I understand.
Are they gonna help you with that? Okay. Okay. The CD form.
Since you only need to see those fully.
You want me to call? No? We all lose it? You're gonna call Rose. Never mind. I'll call Rose. We don't, you get another file? So now that I'm gonna let. I'll be like this. I'm gonna keep an eye on you guys.
That's that feels right now. I'm like. Yeah.
All right, Ricardo Ramirez.
Once you sign it.
All right, so on this case, I have the motion from the defense for blood discovery. Are you okay with the court signing this order?
Yes.
And how long do you think that will take?
5 years.
2 months, Judge, 60 days.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ferguson, on Ricardo Ramirez, because they're telling me it's going to take 2 months for the blood discovery to come back, we'll reset this for 60 days, which I never do. So you all need to confer off docket and state I'll need an offer tendered by the time we come back.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what date, Ms. Ferguson?
I could do March 14th.
All right, March 14th.
Check that, make sure that's not spring
Oh,
break.
wait, that's spring break. That is, I can do March 7th, Judge, right before spring break.
March 2nd.
All right, March 7th it is. You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
May I make a copy of the order for Hank, so it's,
Yes.
they know the requested. This whole team.
Spence County.
Yeah.
You know I have.
I think it's in one up.
I have 3 bags. I guess.
Still. I don't have a theater. Thank you.
We have to get your person.
She's downstairs. Yeah, she's downstairs. Yeah, it'll be a minute.
Oh, no.
because we have a line.
Well, let me know if I should do a CPS at 10. Would be better.
No, it's still gonna wait.
All right, can I see the file on Kevin Owen, please?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Owen, if you'll come forward, please. Hello. All right, Mr. Owen, your attorney is not here yet, but your case is going to be set for jury trial on February 12th. So Ms. Ferguson is going to give you a reset form, and so if you'll just remain till your attorney shows up. All right? Do you have any questions? No. Okay. All right.
February 12th?
February 12th.
Okay.
All right, and Ms. Ferguson will fill out the reset form, all right? All right, thank you. And that will be an impact.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And then the guy in the beach, he has some paperwork with a beach jacket. Can you get the paperwork and the information?
I don't remember. But I don't hear it. One of the other federal judges, but like California. That's who I talked to. Like that, yeah. Yeah. Like it's pretty common. Exactly. Thank you, Zach.
Of course, yeah. I think that's what.
Maybe. Is he out here already or? No, he's yes, we're.
Oh, okay, no, I'll leave that at 1:30. Okay, very good, thanks.
Judge, do you want the panel up here at 11:30?
Yes.
Judge 175?
Yes.
Norma? All right, Judge, so we're here by 11:30.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm like, well,
Thank you.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah.
And he's also.
Oh, yeah.
You really
Uh-huh. Oh. It's.
I'm sitting. Yeah. And then.
Stay strong, start the no sugar. You know, I'm doing this. For no sugar. Like Saturday, I was talking birthday. Like, I can't sit there and watch people eat pizza. Just like ogling it. So I'm not. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I think we got last year. Is your body good on that?
Yeah. So even if it's- yeah. So even if.
Yeah.
I
Or part of it
us
is
just
like
look at that.
myself.
Especially if you're
It is.
Right on the dot. Are you gonna be around?
I gotta go do the 15th and then I'm around.
Next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't have it recorded, but.
I'm all part of it. So.
No, I don't have any.
Yeah.
Little donut, it's for Stephanie. Right?
It's really good. I don't know. I know it's
His bondsman has had no contact.
That's actually.
Yeah.
John Ray Shepherd, that was the one.
Okay. Little for Stephanie.
Yeah.
Well, who's that?
Hi,
Hello, Judge.
DeAndre Shepherd.
Yes, that's the one he's on the docket today on my case. He picked up 2 new charges. Cornelius is appointed. I'm retained on that. Had no contact from him in 6 months and the bondsman has not heard from him since they bonded him out last month.
Okay, so what we'll do is, I'll call it and then we'll issue a warrant. And then if he shows up, then I can hear your motion.
Okay,
All
would you just let me know if he?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to my office. I anticipate he's probably not gonna be here.
Oh, no, we're gonna do it now.
Okay.
All right, can I have a prosecutor for DeAndre Shepherd? Court is calling 2023 CR 11062, State of Texas versus DeAndre Dale Shepherd. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
Robert Mauer for defendant, Your Honor.
All right, if you all could please whisper in the box. Thank you, sir. All right, this hearing was scheduled at 9 a.m. It is now 9:45 a.m. Deputy Laura, did you make an announcement?
Yes, Your Honor, there was no answer.
All right, defense, have you had any contact with Mr. Shepherd?
Not in 6 months, Judge.
All right, state,
State asked for bond forfeiture, Judge.
that'll be granted. He'll be remanded without bond. If he makes an appearance, the court will reconsider.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you. Just so everyone is aware, I'm making this announcement again because I see attorneys just sitting. A jury is coming up here at 11:30. We will be doing a jury trial. So last minute negotiations, jury's coming in at 11:30. Okay.
We're having issues with bringing up in.
Okay.
No.
I know that people bleed out.
Cool.
Because we have the same patient.
Oh, I don't know. I can take that.
She hasn't reached.
No.
We have policy.
Yeah, yeah, kidnapping.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you guys, y'all are high things.
right.
Y'all probably been able to watch it.
And something 14, I think, or something wrong.
Yeah, what would you do? No,
So
that's
before
okay.
I go, you know, this-
At 11:30. You don't need to talk to your client right now?
107.
Because we need to, we're gonna probably put him back in the building.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, he's gonna go to no court, okay, come back at 11:30, it's, this month, the last. We can put him in the building.
Yes. Guzman?
I don't want to try. It's one of my-
There's a second one for holding. A second one, just take him back here, he's up at house.
He's number one. Yeah, I will call him as soon as.
Is that right? He left.
Step to this thing. What's your suit number? That's fine. Let me see how it's.
They haven't followed that.
11,500. It's locked.
Not yet.
Yeah, now I want to. You're in the wrong court. Hold on just a second. If you want, call it. If the bailiff, they take you into custody, let them know that you're here. Okay, and they can call me and I can tell them that you're here.
Oh, and
When you- But just let them know you're sitting here.
Okay.
Okay? And they can call me.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my name on here. Yes. Just have them call me, just to verify that they were here. That you were the one who sent me, and they can call me. To verify. Thank you.
Will be on, not much, yeah.
Okay.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 8868, State of Texas versus Samuel Allen Bach.
Yes, Your Honor.
Come forward.
Mr.
All right, first things first. Is this on the docket today or no?
Was supposed to be on the docket, Judge. I didn't put it on the docket. That was my mistake. I did contact her, letting her know there was a mistake in the system, so I changed it.
All right, State, have you had a chance to bring your file down?
I'm sorry, Judge.
Did you have a chance to bring your file down?
Judge,
Okay, all right, so first things first, have you received all the discovery?
So, Your Honor, this was set as a motion for the bond issue. We have not had a chance to completely confer with the state. They're still reaching out to the complaining witness. It's unclear at this stage if we have all of the discovery. We believe there might be additional videos related at the scene at the time from surveillance that we need to still discuss with the state.
All right, have you uploaded all the discovery?
Judge, as far as I'm aware, what we've received has been uploaded. I haven't had a chance to talk to the detective to see specifically if there's anything that we are missing. Defense is right. I did speak with the family briefly, but we haven't had a chance to meet with them and to go over the case and talk about any type of offer.
Okay. All right, and then the defense is here on a motion to amend bond conditions.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Stated prepared to proceed on their motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the motion, everyone please whisper. I'm always amazed that when we're not on the record, you could hear crickets, you could hear pin drops, but the minute we go on the record, then everybody talks loudly. So for the new year, we're going to change that. All right. So we're here on a motion to amend bond conditions. State, you're ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any witnesses, defense?
Yes, Your Honor. I have both my client as well as his grandparents that are here.
All right, call your first witness.
Okay. And yeah, if we could call John Bach.
All right, John Bach. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
John, B-O-C-K.
Defense.
Thank you. And how do you know Samuel Bach?
Samuel's my grandson.
And where does Samuel Bach live currently?
He currently lives with me and my wife.
And are you familiar with when this case
Just one
arose?
second. Excuse me. We're on the record. If you all can't whisper, then you can't talk in the box. You may continue.
Thank you. Are you aware that this case arose out of a car accident?
I am
And where was Samuel Bach living at the time of that accident?
with me.
And do you know approximately when that car accident occurred?
I believe it was January 25th. I believe,
Of what year?
2022,
Okay, and how old was Samuel at that time?
18.
And since that time, has he continued to live with you?
He has.
And when did y'all learn that the state was going to proceed with charges in this case?
2 months ago, I believe.
At any point, have you been concerned that Samuel would be a flight risk?
Not at all.
And in regards to the bond conditions, are you aware of what bond conditions he has in this case?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay, specifically, are you aware that he has GPS partial house arrest?
That's correct.
Have there been any complications with the GPS house arrest?
None.
Meaning not.
Meaning, except for trying to, for work, you know, because the bonds, you have to have a specific time frame from this time to that time, which kind of narrows down what he can apply for. He's applied for a couple of jobs, but the restrictions are just, it's hard. It's hard at this point.
So when I say, in regards to the GPS restriction, has he violated it at all?
Absolutely not.
But when he goes to look for jobs, has he had a difficult time with the responsiveness of pretrial services?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that recently affect his ability to have an interview?
It did.
In this regard, do you think that a GPS monitoring is necessary for Samuel?
I don't know if it's strict house arrest, if that's what you're asking.
Well, right now it's partial house arrest,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you believe that it's in Samuel's best interest to have the GPS removed?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, who posted bond?
I did.
Okay, and do you remember the amount of bond that was set in his case?
100,000.
Okay, and are you, at this point, who is having to pay for the GPS tracking?
I am, ma'am.
And how much is that?
300 a month.
And why is Samuel not being able to pay for it himself?
It's been difficult to get a job with the restrictions being set at certain times and no deviation from those times, no overtime, can't work late. You have to be there a certain time and leave a certain time.
All
to
right,
be
so
home.
not to interrupt, but so that everybody can know the information that I need, here's what I need to know. I need to know, one, allegedly, what is this case about? I just know the charges. I don't know if there is, from you, you're telling me that there was a car, it was involving a vehicle. So obviously this is not alleged to be some sort of drinking because it's not an intoxication assault or anything of that nature. So I'm wondering what the issue is as far as the alleged facts of the case. I won't take them as true. I'm just trying to figure out whether or not he should be on GPS. Then the next thing I would want to know is whether or not the state would have any objection to him being on tracking only. And if the state has no objection to him being on tracking only, then the problem may be solved there. With regards to your request, because I know you're going to request that if I continue him on GPS, can he have the fees waived?
Yes.
What I can tell you is this is an independent third-party company with a third-party contract through the state. I can put down waive GPS fees. They're not going to waive them. I can put down defer the fees. Maybe they'll defer the fees, but they're not going to waive the fees. So, state, Are you going to have any objection to tracking only?
A judge, we may have an objection to tracking only.
All right, and so what's your reason for objecting to tracking only?
Due to the nature of the case, it's a manslaughter charge. Right now, from the testimony that we've heard so far, I mean, they've just said that he has been having difficulty scheduling for pretrial. We don't know the full situation there, how much notice he's given pretrial of these interviews. I also was gonna ask about employment. Was he employed before this? What about after?
All right, so far we have partial GPS. Is it partial GPS for working? What is the G? Because I didn't put him on GPS. I didn't put the conditions in. There was another judge. I'm assuming the magistrate did it when he was first arrested. So partial, is it partial for working or partial for something else?
Right now, it's just partial for working as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
And this is a case where it's alleged that my client was going 104 miles an hour and he was 18 at the time. He was in the far left lane and there is a vehicle that enters the roadway. It's an 87-year-old driving, enters the roadway and they collide.
Okay, all right.
That's the facts
So,
that they're alleged.
Well, alleged facts, okay.
Right.
So then it seems to me the whole issue in this case, and I don't know if that was put as a condition that he's not allowed to drive. That seems to be the crux of the situation. He should not be driving because of the alleged facts. So with regards to GPS, I'm not inclined to remove it, but I'm inclined to work with him as far as employment. Are you going to have any issues with him having employment if obviously he doesn't have a job right now? So we need a time frame where he's allowed to seek employment. According to the conditions, is he allowed to drive still?
Yes.
So to me, that should have been the crux of the situation, that he should not be allowed to drive. But since nobody's requesting that, and I don't have a motion before me for that, I'm not going to interfere with that because I can only interfere with what's before me. So with regards to GPS, because he is driving, I'm not going to remove GPS. I will stick with the partial. If he wants to come up and if you all want to discuss the hours where he can look for employment, my understanding is now employment is all applications online now. Even if you try to apply at the Walmart, McDonald's, you have to do it online. There is no more, I'm just walking in to do it. So if you all want to talk about the hours where he can seek employment, and then that would just be if he has an interview. But what I can tell you is I do not want him driving on the street after hours. It'd have to be during the daytime. So if y'all want to confirm that, you can.
And Your Honor, this accident happened in the middle of the day. It was not after hours. There's no alcohol, nothing other than.
I mean, I understand, but I need to put a tight thing on him because somebody didn't put that he wasn't allowed to drive.
So the other issue is that that we were going to bring out is that he gave over 4 days notice to pretrial of an interview and could not get a response from them the day.
Who is this pretrial services officer?
I'd like to check.
All right, check who your pretrial services officer is. Give it to Ms. Ferguson. We'll have them zoom in. And before they zoom in, if you all can confer, because I'm not inclined to remove GPS. I don't even think he should be allowed to drive, but I'm not going to interfere with that because no motion is before me to take away his driving privileges. So if you all want to confer over the hours, and then I can have his pretrial services officer zoom here and we can clear up his ability to have employment. Oh, and just so everybody know, he's not going to be allowed to work at a car dealership or any type of dealership. So that's off the table. Anything to do with vehicles or modes of transportation, I'm not allowing that as employment. So if you all want to step back and confer over that and let Ms. Ferguson know who his pretrial services officer is, we'll have them zoom in and we'll take care of it. Okay. Jacob Borrego. Are you all ready to proceed on the motion to revoke?
Judge, this, there's two brand new cases. They're not indicted. I'm asking for a short reset. I
Okay.
talked to Pat Hancock about it. I believe he was asking for the 18th of January.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
And I do apologize. I already had a message. Daniel has already asked, the lab back in November about these labs. It happened in September, but I sent another email to the actual head to see, and we will have it resolved either way on the 18th, Judge. This is a fourth set.
all right. Are you all in receipt of this?
I believe that we're all aware of it.
All right, Mr. Hancock, are you in receipt of that?
Aware of that, Judge.
All right.
Very, very well aware.
I wish it would have been written better because in some places it appears that the person is talking in the first person, then in other places it's the third person. So,
But yes, Judge, if we could get that last reset, and I promise you that either way, this case will get resolved at that point.
so do you all want January 18th or do you want January 25th?
The 18th, I think, Judge, would be better for me, if it's okay with you, Judge.
That's fine. I'll be back on that day, Judge.
All right, Ms. Ferguson. On Borrego, we're recalling this on January 18th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. I'll see you all then.
I need. Is that it? Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Vashon Borrego is being reset for January 18th.
What's? You're fine, so.
One, 377. It's 377.
What happened? Is it ordered?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a seat. You're supposed to be here for profit. So have a seat. Just don't leave the courtroom anymore. Okay.
I will have those. You're gonna hang with.
Speaking of production. Yeah.
Dylan Parker. Dylan Parker. Good morning.
So we heard back from Veterans Treatment Court and Mr. Parker was accepted, but there's a wait list up until the first week of March. So we're asking for a reset until mid-March.
So when specifically in March?
Well, it's the last week of February to the first week of March, so I guess the second week of March,
Okay.
that would work.
Oh, and where is Mr.? Daryl Harris was here and then all of a sudden he's not here anymore.
He's right there, Judge.
Oh, Daryl, come forward, Mr. Harris. I didn't see you. You were blocked. Blame Hank.
I might be of service.
All right, so they're telling me that Veterans Treatment Court has a wait list, which I do believe. And they're saying that they'll be available sometime in March because he's been accepted.
He was just accepted in the past week.
I will trust counsel. We've staffed the number.
So my question though is, and what I'm concerned about is he's been accepted. I'm going to give you your March setting date, but I want to make sure that between now and March, he has, contact with who he needs to have contact, because I don't want him to fall off and start doing things that perhaps he shouldn't be. I don't want him to be in the world without access to treatment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset it for March, and then Mr. Harris, you all going to discuss and make sure that he has his everything set up for treatment. See, I delegate.
We'll make it work.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
what date in March?
I can do the 7th or the 14th.
7th or the 14th?
The 14th is better.
All right, so what,
That's spring break time.
March 14th? Oh, I'm going to be here anyway,
Okay.
because we'll be in jury trial. All right, so March 14th, but since we'll probably be in jury trial, I'll need you to be here exactly at 9 a.m., okay?
Yes, ma'am. That works. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Once you sign the reset form, you are excused, and please confer with Mr. Harris.
I will.
All right, thank you.
Can you have a seat, sir? Mr. Parker? Have a seat.
Jacob Sanchez. Jacob Sanchez, come forward.
You're the side, sir.
Middle.
All right, so what's happening with this case?
Judge, my understanding from just talking with defense right now is that the state's made an offer on the case.
Okay. All right. Defense, do you have all the discovery?
I believe so.
Sir, how old are you?
I'm not sure. I was born in 1988.
Okay. And you don't know how old you are? All right. Is there some, oh, you need to say yes or no. You don't know how old you are?
Oh, no. January 11th, 1988.
All right. So have you had any mental health issues or anything of that nature?
I received medication,
All right. What do you receive medication for?
schizo something. I'm not sure.
All right. Are you currently
Right now,
on medication at the jail?
yes, Your Honor.
All right, counsel, you're aware that he has, at least he's presenting to the court that he has some mental health issues?
I am now.
All right, do you think your client is competent?
Um,
Do you want to speak to him about that?
no, I don't. I think he's not competent.
I'm sorry, what?
I believe he needs to be examined for competency.
All right, did you speak to him about competency issues? Because, and I'm just asking because when you all became before me, nobody mentioned competency until I mentioned it. So have you discussed with him his mental health issues?
No, I have not.
All right, if you want to speak to him about that, then you all can reapproach.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Who's here on Andrew Garcia? All right, if y'all come forward.
You're in the middle. You're in the middle. Mr. Anton, you're on this side. Sir,
Oh, excuse me. Yes. I don't know why he came.
Mr. Anton,
Oh,
On
I'm
this
in the
side.
wrong spot.
Yes.
Well, that's just normal, Judge.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 10327, State of Texas versus Andrew J. Garcia. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Post Maru for the state of Texas.
Defense,
Anton Hike for the citizen accused.
are you Mr. Garcia?
That is correct, ma'am.
All right, so no paperwork on top of the court reporter's desk. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
I believe the state is giving me all the discovery I'm entitled to, including 3914, and I've reviewed it with my client, not only today, but at other times.
All right, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Everyone, if you're behind the court reporter, don't speak. Counsel, if you need to speak to your client, they'll move you to the end. All right, Mr. Garcia, I'm showing you what's entitled, well, I have two. I have an application for deferred adjudication and an application for community supervision. Did you review those with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign them?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next I'm showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We waived the reading.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Judge, we're proceeding on counts 1 through 4.
All right, and each count is the charge official oppression?
Counts
Yes.
1 through 3 are official oppression, Judge. Count 4, I believe, is a tampering with the government record.
Okay. All right, and then are you waiving count 5, 6, and 7?
Yes, sir.
Any objection?
No objection to waiving those counts.
All right, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, sir.
All right, did you understand in counts 1, 2, and 3, you're charged with the offense of official oppression? And count 4, you're charged with tampering with the government record. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand each one of these counts are state jail felonies? The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Judge, if I may, counts 1 through 3, I'm sorry, are actually class A misdemeanor.
All right, so you don't have the proper paperwork before me. I have here, this is state jail felony paperwork. So the record can be clear, what needs to be done is court admonishments. You need to fill out the different document and you need to fill out each count in the range of punishment for it, because otherwise this document listed all as state jail felonies.
Okay, yes, sir.
So if y'all will do that and then approach and we'll take it up. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Sure. Leslie Cox.
Judge,
Hello. Leslie Cox.
she's coming, Judge. There's a lot of people between here and there, Judge.
I know. All right, so today an offer is due. So has an offer been tendered?
In office, been tendered, Judge.
And do you have all of the discovery?
I do.
Let me just find her on the docket sheet. Okay. And how old are you?
37.
37? And I ask these questions because that gives me an idea of when I should set your plea deadline date, okay? All right, I'm gonna set the plea deadline date in this case. Norma,
Yes, ma'am.
on this case, plea deadline date, January 30th?
January 30th,
Yes,
and that's for Leslie Cox.
yes.
January 30th, it's fine.
All right, once you sign that form, you're excused. Thank you.
Mr. Peck.
Judge, on the next one, I've got a question before we go on the record. So.
Who is it? Is it Dick Grace? Yes.
So last time we were here, we still hadn't gotten the autopsies. So it says plea deadline, but I thought that today was the final discovery that we were getting.
No, what it is it's the plea deadline date, but I did inform you all if between November and now, if all the discovery hasn't been done, the court will reconsider the plea deadline date.
And that's what we asked.
Hey,
Okay.
Judge, just to inform the board, before we get started, so, I did provide the autopsy to defense via email when they notified me earlier this week that they still did not have them.
Okay.
Additionally, I want to say it was during Christmas time, there were photographs that we hadn't had before,
Mhm.
that we had reached out to the detective and he made a mail to us.
All
We
right.
did provide that too.
All right, let's bring Mr. Reyes, come forward. All right, so counsel, do you want me to put this on the same date as your other client?
Yes, Judge.
All right, your plea deadline date is going to be January 30th. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there anything else?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Here's one, and then put the other one.
Okay, Darren Gomez.
All right, are you all ready on Garcia?
Take your advice and waive the banning. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Can I see Mr. Garcia? We're going to go back on the record in cause number 2023 CR 10327, State of Texas versus Andrew Garcia. Could I have parties announced for the record again for the state?
Nicholas Murphy, State Texas.
Anton Hyde for the citizen accused.
All right. So I've previously asked the defendant if he reviewed the indictment. State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Okay, we're going to waive and abandon counts 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and we'll just proceed solely on count 4 of the indictment.
No objections.
And counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We waited reading the time.
All right. Showing you again what is entitled court admonishments. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand in count 4, you're charged with tampering with the government record?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a state jail felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, excuse me, don't talk behind the court reporter. You can move it to the end. If for any reason the court were to revoke your deferred adjudication and find you guilty, the court could sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has worked very hard on providing defenses, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I certainly do believe that, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I believe that's true.
Mr. Garcia, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, yes.
Anyone promise you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial, showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, state is proceeding on count 4 only. Is that correct, state?
Yes, Judge.
Punishment is to be assessed at 1 year in the state jail facility. They're opposing your application for deferred adjudication. They're recommending community supervision, and there's to be a permanent surrender of your T-code license. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea?
That's the plea bargain.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Judge.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No such motion, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 3 years. There be no contact with Dayton, Dayton, Lopez, Xavier, Garcia, Rios, and Efrain Acosta. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offenses charged in count 1, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty, Your Honor.
State, any evidence?
Yes, Judge, state offers states exhibits, 1, including attachments. These include the taser records, the investigation by the PIU investigator, and also statements from the victims in this case.
All right. Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor. We've looked them over today.
Showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We can, he like a PSI. He also wants to offer in defense exhibits number 1 and 2. Number 1 is a reward for saving a life. Number 2 is close.
Any objection?
No objections to those, Judge, but if we could respond.
All right.
We are aware of the plea bargain was offered for probation. And that's why we submitted the second application for deferred, because you can give better than you bargained for.
All right. So do you wish a PSI report or no, counsel?
I would, yes.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, I need a PSI date. Is there a need for a CHOP evaluation?
No.
Okay. And the court will accept into evidence defense exhibits 1 and 2.
Thank you.
All right, March 7th at 9 a.m.
Yes, Judge.
All right, is there anything else?
No, maybe excused.
Yes,
Thank you, Judge.
Does he see a probation officer now?
yes. Dinah.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, are you all ready on Jacob Sanchez? All right, counsel, does your client need a competency evaluation?
I believe he does.
All right. And you're going to be filing that?
Yes, I can send it. You want me to send that with you or file with you or with?
Oh, you can file it here in the court. Ms. Ferguson, I need a reset date for a competency evaluation.
I can do. I'll do the March 7th, Judge.
Well, can you put it in February to make sure it's filed?
February 29th.
All right, February 29th. So it needs to be filed today. And we'll be back on February 29th. And Ms. Ferguson, if you can give Mr. Sanchez a reset form, because I think this is the only thing that's holding him. All right, is there anything else?
No.
All right, thank you.
No. So I can do it.
Judge, Mr. Padilla.
All right, do y'all have the information on Samuel Bach or no? Okay.
Judge, let me,
Judge, I think the fence is out.
All right, thank you. Darwin Gomez. All right, we needed, do we have the interpreter here?
For Gomez?
No, not for
I was gonna
Gomez.
say he's.
For Padilla, do we have the interpreter?
no,
Judge, I have my secretary who speaks.
No, we need the interpreter. So if you all will call down the interpreter. All right, Mr. Gomez. I'm sorry, counsel, you're on this side.
My apologies, Judge. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Who's the prosecutor for Darwin Gomez?
It's me, Judge.
All right. Where are we on discovery?
The state is in compliance. I've asked for just
the background information of the complainant and the 911 calls. We've conferred, we're in the process, this is the first setting of working it out and getting that done before the next setting and finding out whether this is going to be a plea or a trial.
All right, has a plea been offered?
No, Judge, it's I have not dug into this one very much yet.
We're hoping to have that by next setting. And once we get I think the biggest factor is whether or not the complainant has a criminal history. Without going into the facts of it, but it's kind of relevant.
All right, Ms. Ferguson. On this case, give me a 30-day reset, please.
Okay, it'll be February 7th.
All right, you all going to come back on February 7th, on February 7th?
February 8th, Judge, that's a Wednesday, sorry.
All right, February 8th. You're coming back on February 8th, and on that date, state needs to be prepared to make an offer. And then there will be a quick turnaround for a plea deadline date.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're
And then
welcome.
One question, Your Honor. Does the court allow defendants to appear on Zoom if they have work conflicts or no? I mean, I'll be here in person, but is that?
Well, I've let him appear by Zoom before. What's
Yes,
his
Your Honor.
work conflict?
I'm so sorry, Your Honor. The only issue was last time I was trying to get the information for the Zoom link.
No, she's asking why you're requesting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I work 7 days a week in Buckholz, Texas, and I don't necessarily have any means to make it efficiently, I guess you'd say. But if need be, I can show up in person.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on February 8th, Mr. Gomez is allowed to appear by Zoom.
But I'll be here, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you
And
very
your
much, Judge.
client was late today.
I will. Yes, Judge.
All right,
Apologize.
thank you.
Have a happy New Year, Judge.
All right, you too. And I have information for you on that.
I have info for you too.
Okay. All right, so I have that the evaluation can be done next Wednesday.
Perfect.
So they say that they will have the evaluation completed.
In criminal filing, and you probably won't remember this because it's been ages, but you might because you have a good memory. This was back when we were still doing Zoom, and I was talking to him, I came back and I told you that I didn't think it was common, and you were the one that you ordered it right then and there. That he be examined, and so there's the order signed by you. But I did ask, my assistant to go ahead and file a motion just to have it in there for the record. So
Well, they'll see him on the 17th, so if you'll get in touch with Dr. Jumis
that's fantastic.
and let him know that your client is in custody.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Patillo, if you'll come forward, please. All right. So on this case, we're going to recall it back for January 23rd, just to see where you are. Ms. Ferguson, on this case, recall for January 23rd.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there anything else?
That's it, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. State on Patillo, that's being recalled back for January 23rd.
Just have a seat, Sam. No talking in the box. No talking to me in the box.
All right, why are you all talking to each other? This is what I tell people. The only thing for people in the box, the only information that an inmate can possibly give you that you can rely on is when you catch and chain and when people are being released from prison. That's it. As far as getting legal advice for them, why would you get legal advice for somebody who's in the same situation that you're in? And I guarantee you the defense attorneys do not appreciate it when other inmates are trying to give legal advice. So the next inmate that tries to give you some legal advice, tell them, before I accept this, could I see your bar card? And if they don't have a bar card, do not listen to them. And if they did have a bar card, then guess what? ethically, they're not allowed to try to pick you up as a client because you already have an attorney. All right? Which one? Oh. So who's talking? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you want to do that.
Oh, and then also Compton has Ken and Brown and Gonzalez Lopez. Oh, okay, thank you. Stephen and Sarah?
Via Zoom from New York.
Okay, could I see the file on Sarah? Are you all ready?
And Judge, we do have, the prosecutor is not here on that, but we've already conferred and we do have an agreement. I guess the question for the court was, since he's on Zoom and we're here, how did you want to handle the plea?
Oh, they can do the paperwork by Zoom and you'll have to talk to him by phone.
I think he did the paperwork on paper, so I'm gonna have to ask Chandler to redo it. via
All
Zoom.
right. Are you Mr. and Sarah?
Sarah, yeah, yes, Judge.
All right, I'm gonna put you back in the breakout room. What's gonna end up happening is your attorney's gonna call you and you're gonna receive paperwork on your computer, all right?
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
And we spoke last night, so he understands.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Are you already on Samuel Bach?
Is he on?
Julio Garza?
Yes.
Okay. Samuel Bach. All right, Mr. Julio Garza. All right, if you could unmute for me, please. Hello.
Good morning.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on such short notice. So here's the issue. Samuel Allen Bach, he wants to seek employment and we want to give him a window of time where he can seek employment. Have you all agreed on a window of time?
We haven't, Your Honor, and we're still asking for tracking because we don't believe it goes to any issue in the case. We'd like to discuss that further.
All right, I'm not going to give him tracking. I don't even think he should be driving, but I'm not going to address that issue. I will give him, if you want to continue to call your witnesses, you can, but what I will give him based upon the nature of the offense and what you all have told me, if he has a window where he wants to seek employment, I will give him that window of time. And then once he has employment, then he'll be able to go to his work and return. But I'm not going to automatically do tracking. He's going to have to show the court something.
And so, Your Honor, with that, what I'd like to point out is that for 2 years, the state did nothing. And there was actually an investigation that was done by the insurance companies in which the 87-year-old's own insurance company admitted and took responsibility saying he was the cause of the accident.
Oh, well, if you want to file it, I mean, you can file a motion for speedy trial or whatever you want to file it here. I'm just here for the motion to amend bond conditions. We'll go back on the record. We're going to go back on the record in 2023 CR 8868. Counsel, you can recall your witness, or we can continue with your witness that you previously called, Mr. Bach, the grandfather.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bach. All right. You may continue.
Thank you. Was there an insurance claim made in this case?
And I'm gonna object, Judge, because relevance here.
All right, that'll be overruled. Any other objections?
It's the negotiations in a civil case, it's not relevant here, it's not admissible.
All right, unless there are no objections, you can ask your question.
Are you aware of an insurance claim made in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And the complaining witness that is now the deceased, the 87-year-old, his insurance came to a conclusion in that case.
Sustained.
What was were you the person who paid for the insurance on the car that was in the accident?
I was.
And the car that was in the accident, was it a Cadillac SUV
Was.
driven by,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And that car was driven by Samuel Walk?
Yes.
And who was the owner of that Cadillac SUV?
My wife and I.
And who was responsible for the insurance in that case?
My wife and I.
And was your insurance found to be
I'm gonna
responsible?
object to hearsay.
Sustained.
What was the result of that insurance claim?
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Sustained.
Do you have personal knowledge of the insurance and how it was resolved?
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Sustained.
During this time period, at any point, did the DPS or the state of Texas seek to remove Samuel Bach's license from him?
No.
Did the state of Texas at all find him at fault in this accident?
I'm gonna object, Your Honor, that's what we're here.
There,
Just one moment. What is your legal objection, counsel?
I guess relevance here, right now, he's asking if the state of Texas is trying to find a responsible for this. Right here, this is what we're here for.
All right, that'll be sustained.
during that 2-year period that has passed, at any point were you contacted and made aware that the state of Texas felt that Samuel Bach was responsible?
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm not asking for the content. I'm asking if he was contacted.
All right, then the question should be, were you contacted? Not, were you contacted because of A, B, and C? The question should just be, were you contacted by the state of Texas?
At any time were you put on notice that that Samuel Bach, your grandson, was considered to be responsible?
I'm gonna object to relevance.
Sustained.
All right. In regards to the monitoring of your grandson, has he been permitted to drive for the last 2 years
Yes.
since the accident?
Yes.
And has he had any other tickets or violations or anything related to a driving fact pattern?
No, ma'am.
At this time, do you feel that he is a danger to society if he would be allowed to drive?
I'm gonna object to relevance.
Oh, that'll be overruled.
You can answer the question. At this time, do you feel like he would be a danger to society if he was allowed to drive?
No, ma'am.
And why not?
He's never had a ticket or anything before.
And
He's a, I don't-
I apologize, I didn't want to cut you off. I didn't know if you were
oh,
still
no,
talking.
no, I don't believe he's a danger to society.
And is he insured under your auto insurance?
He was.
And has he been kicked off of your auto insurance for being uninsurable?
No.
So as of today, he is insured.
Yes.
And what car, if any, would Samuel Bach be driving?
I have an F-150.
And that's
pickup truck.
and that's the car he would be driving.
Possibly, I have a Mustang as well, but the F-150 is what he'd be driving.
And in regards to the interview to get employment, are you aware of where he was trying to seek employment this last week?
Those home improvement.
Okay. And are you aware of how many days advance notice pretrial services was given to approve that?
4 days.
And when did pretrial actually respond?
They did not.
And what happened when they did not respond?
Samuel called pretrial that morning.
And was Samuel able to attend the meeting?
He was.
And at this time, do y'all know whether or not he's received a job from Lowe's?
Not yet. It was yesterday, so we haven't heard anything.
Now, you need to, would you repeat?
I asked him if my question I have is, no, not yet yesterday, so we have.
We have not heard from the employment agency as of today.
Now, if he were able to get or is offered the job at Lowe's, would you or your wife be able to take him to and from employment?
It'd be difficult since we both work.
All right, off the record for a moment. Are you already on with the interpreter? All right, just give me 2 minutes if you all will step this way. Could I see Nathan Cruz, please? Oh, sorry, not Nathan Cruz. I'm sorry. It's Marcelino Padilla.
Maria. Go have a seat, sir.
All right, where are we on discovery?
I believe everything is good to go, Your Honor. State made an offer.
Maria. Antonino.
Norma, on this case, I need a 3-week reset for plea deadline date.
Very wait.
All right. All right. All right, counsel, have you received all the discovery in this case?
I have, Your Honor.
All right, has an offer been tendered?
It has.
All right. Then this is going to be set for a plea deadline date, and that plea deadline date is going to be on February 6th. Mr. Padilla, at that time, you need to let the court know whether or not you're accepting the state's offer. If you choose not to accept the state's offer, then this will be set for jury trial and your plea deadline date will have expired. And the court will only consider a plea bargaining agreement with a good cause. Otherwise, you have to plea open to the court. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
What would be the sentence if I was found guilty?
All right. According to, I believe he's charged with aggravated sexual assault.
Yeah, sexual assault child.
All right. The range of punishment for that offense is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
That's fine.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Nathan Cruz.
Maria.
All right. Where are we on this case with discovery?
Judge, I've talked to ADA Garahan. It's looking like they may or may not end up doing the phone dump after all. He's got to staff this case with the elected, asked for a short reset of 2 weeks to come back, and hopefully we'll have a offer by that time.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can I have a 2-week reset on Cruz, please? All right, we'll come back on January 30th. At that time, the state will tender an offer.
Thank you, Judge. May we excuse?
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Man, put your phone out and get out.
Who?
The lady is wearing the brown jacket.
Excuse me, lady in brown jacket, come forward now. Why are you recording?
I'm not recording. You can see my phone.
All right, so what is your name?
Natalie.
Natalie what?
Salazar.
Natalie Salazar, you're no longer allowed in this courtroom. Do you understand? All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, and what date did we get proofs? The case just done. No, it was January. All right. All right, Luis Ramirez Rodriguez. Hello, good seeing you.
Good seeing you, Judge.
All right, today is his plea deadline date.
Correct, Judge.
All right, are you accepting or rejecting the plea?
Judge, I've compared with my client. He's going to reject that plea.
All right, how long you're expecting this jury trial?
Judge, I'd expect it to be maybe a week, maybe 4 days.
All right, is there video?
There is, Judge.
How long is the video?
It is, I believe it's about an hour and a half.
About what?
An hour and a half.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on this case, Ramirez Rodriguez, it's a 3-day trial.
Go in. News already. Okay.
It's
criminal trial division. All right, you'll be back on February 6th for your jury trial. You'll be brought over dressed for trial and whatever civilian clothing you have at the jail. If there are issues with the clothing exchange, let the court know. And has he already received his Padilla letter from Mac?
He has, Judge.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, we have one more.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Maybe excuse your honor.
Yeah, they say they have one more.
One more for me? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it's just some. All right, Gonzalez Lopez.
He's just in the background, Judge. Yes. Because we have too many inmates out here.
All right, Brandon, is that Brandon, the attorney on Zoom?
Your Honor, it's 11. That might be Brandon De Hoyos.
Mr. De Hoyos, just give us a moment, please. And Mr. Under Aztec, just give us a moment, please. All right, who's the attorney on Eric Lopez?
I am, Your Honor. And I do have a couple of motions that if we are actually going to trial, I probably will need those heard. Doesn't need to be right now, but at some point.
All right, so this is up for trial.
So Judge, today, defense asked in regards to whether or not they could in this case apply for a U visa. And any documentation related to that. This is the first state is being made aware as far as I'm aware. I don't know of any documents, but I'd have to ask them if this is being sent over.
Oh, it's easy to figure out if somebody's applied for U visa, so that'll be able to be done. So,
And Your Honor, just to be clear for the record, I was not, I wasn't aware that that was a possibility until I was reviewing one of several hundred videos over the weekend. And there was mention of that in just a brief mention in one conversation in the middle of one video. And so we spoke yesterday and I had forgotten about that when we were talking, but it's very important for me to know that.
All right.
Um,
So this occurs a lot sometime with family violence cases. So I'm sure they'll be able to give you the steps to discover if your complainant has applied for a U visa.
Okay.
All right.
And additionally, Judge, I filed yesterday an election of punishment to the jury.
Okay.
That should be in the court file.
Okay.
I did file as well an application for probation. As Mr. Gonzalez Lopez has never been previously convicted
Okay.
of a felony.
All right. Well, we'll take that up at 11:30.
Okay, so
All right.
come back at 11:30 for that.
Yes.
All right. I'll
And we'll
you
see if
then.
we have an interpreter available for the trial if your case is going.
Okay, and
All right.
is that when I'm gonna find out where I am in the lineup?
Yes.
All right, I'll see you at 11:30.
All right. Thank you. Jose Barrera, come forward. Who's your attorney? Who's the attorney for Jose Barrera? All right, then you're gonna have to wait.
Let us know.
Yes.
11:30 beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. All right, where are we on this case?
Sorry. Mr. Barrera, the state agreed that he could apply for pretrial diversion, so we would like a reset to allow him.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, PTD.
February 15th.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you. All right, Bach, if you'll come back, please. We're back on the record in 2023 CR 8868. And we have the witness, Mr. Bach. You're still under oath. Defense, you may proceed.
Yes, what is the address of your residence?
14651 Stewart Road, San Antonio, Texas.
And are there job opportunities within walking distance of that location?
No,
Are there buses that are at that frequent that location?
no,
Or that can be accessed through walking from
No.
that? I
No.
apologize. She's the court reporter, and if we talk over each other, she can't take what we're saying.
Okay.
Are there buses that he could walk to that are close to that location?
no.
What does the location look like? Is it urban or rural?
We're out in the country.
And at this time, do you think that it would be detrimental to Samuel to be locked into a strict time constraint as to when he can leave the house?
No,
I'm sorry, I'm asking, let me ask that question again, because I don't think you heard my question. Do you think that it is detrimental to have Samuel locked into strict times which he is confined to the house?
I'm gonna object to ask and answer.
All right, that'll be overruled.
an answer.
Yes.
Are there should there be strict rules?
Should he have a curfew or times that he is constrained to the house through GPS?
No, ma'am.
And why not?
Well, the wife and I work many different hours, and to get him a job, to get him to and from, would be hard for us. You know, without him driving, or if he has strict rules, can't work at night or certain times throughout the day.
And are you concerned that Samuel is a flight risk?
No, absolutely.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, any questions?
Just complete. So Samuel was able to go attend the.
Yes, sir.
So far, it hasn't had a negative impact on him attending.
No,
Okay. And has Samuel applied to other positions?
he's applied for 3 positions.
And has he heard back from any of them?
Not yet. They were yesterday.
But so far, then the GPS hasn't affected any of those prospects.
Not at this time.
And before he was arrested in November of 23, was he employed?
He had worked at 2 jobs shortly.
Okay, and did his arrest and the conditions, did they have any effects on that employment?
He wasn't arrested at that time. That was the 2 years prior to him being arrested.
So the conditions haven't had any effect on previous employment.
It hasn't at this time, except for requesting to attend the interviews.
Nothing from the city.
All right, any follow-up?
No,
All right, thank you so much for coming. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, I have no further witnesses, just argument.
All right, court will hear argument.
Yes, at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Bach, you can stand here. Yes.
We just like to point out that the partial house arrest is not reasonably related to any fact pattern in this case. If the court's concern is, absconding or fleeing, then tracking would more than help with that. He was 18 at the time, he's now 20. This individual needs to be a productive member of society. And the strictness of being able to apply for jobs during only daylight hours, and we anticipate the state is going to move forward and ask for removal of the driver's license. Those are all, like, the driver's license issue is a different issue, but the house.
Well, the removal of the driver's license is not before the court, so that won't be happening today. The fact that he drives is not before the court today, so that won't be happening today. So all we're here about is the GPS.
And in my point to that, though, is that I don't see how that reasonably protects society from anything. And he's not a flight risk, but even if he was, the tracking would be the option, not to punish him. Clearly, we should have our day in court, but he is considered innocent until proven guilty. And at this point, 2 years went past and the state didn't think that he was a flight risk or anything like that. I mean, I don't think that this is the pattern that would justify, the fact pattern would justify this extreme GPS that just gets placed on any case just because someone passed away. It is unfortunate, and I don't mean to make light of that. It's unfortunate that someone passed away, but it does not mean that someone needs to be put under house arrest and stop becoming a productive member of society. We want to encourage the productivity of being a member of the society, not punish those attempts to do that. So at this point, we are asking for tracking only.
All right, motion for tracking only is denied. Mr. Garza, can you unmute yourself, please? Mr. Garza.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
ordering that Mr. Bach is allowed to seek employment. So defense and Mr. Bach are telling me that they've tried to have him seek employment, but that there has been, I'll just say a miscommunication. We'll just leave it at miscommunications. So is there any place that he can email to get in touch with you or leave messages or proof that he's seeking employment?
Yes, Your Honor. He can email me, but when it comes to seeking employment, he does have to be specific of where he's going to be, what time, and the contact information of his potential employer.
All right, will you be able to provide that? All right, so we're going to get we're going to have Ms. Ferguson give you his email address. So what he needs from you when you're seeking employment is the hours, the specific location of where you're going to be, and the contact person for that employment opportunity. Are you able to do that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, problem solved. All right, Mr. Garza, they're going to get your email address from Ms. Ferguson. She's going to give it to him and he will be sending that to you. Do you have any employment opportunities that are upcoming?
Haven't had one yet, because I have been putting in applications, and I did have the interview yesterday for a
Okay.
job. However, I haven't heard back from them yet.
All right.
So I'm still looking, I'm still applying. I just have to wait until I get another interview.
Well, you know what my mom would always say, when you do an interview and you haven't heard back, you have to pick up the phone and call them to let them know you really want it.
Yes,
All right? All right. And then what I'll order is I'll order that fees are deferred. Mr. Garza, I know that you all are not in charge of that, but I'll order that his fees for the GPS be deferred because he hasn't, he's not employed yet. And his grandparents really should not be responsible financially for his GPS. All right.
Your Honor, this GPS was installed through the jail, so it's actually possible to waive the fees to the jail.
Could I see the following box?
Yeah, I got it. Oh.
And so I didn't know if you're aware of that, my
Well, I mean,
understanding.
I'm aware of the jail GPS, but I'm also aware that the jail PS does not like, because that's funding that comes somewhere else from them. And I do that a lot where I defer fees for people who are on GPS through jail or waive fees. I have waived plenty of fees. And there's a limited number of financing that they have for me to be waiving fees. So I'll defer the fees and we'll go from there. All right?
And I apologize for my misunderstanding. I'm not clear. Deferring means that once he's employed, they would come back.
Yes.
Okay, I thank you for clarifying.
Oh, no problem. All right. Is there anything else?
Judge, the state may be considering filing a motion to modify bond conditions to include no driving. We haven't filed that yet. Just to make the court aware.
All right, then I'll hear that when that comes up.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yes, as soon as he gets the email address so that he'll have it.
And we do have it. It was just the complications in getting a response, but it
right.
seems to be addressed.
All right, and if there's an issue with that, just come back to court and let me know.
Okay, thank
All
you
right.
so much.
All right, your new court date is going to be February 8th. All right, and that will be for discovery.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
You too. All right, the person in the red jacket, can you come forward, please?
She says she doesn't understand English.
All right, if she's underage, she should be in school. And my understanding is, for those who have children, are there any districts that are not currently in school? Nobody has children? Judson is back? All right, so she needs to be removed from the courtroom. I don't have underage people in the courtroom. All right, and the purple person in the gray suit, who is he?
He's the U.S. Executive of the United States.
All right, so you're the US executive with which part of the United States? I mean. All right, so do you have documentation? All right, thank you so much. You're excused. All right, thank you. Have a great day. It's Monday on a Tuesday. All right, this is done.
Your Honor.
Which file do you need? Okay. Who's here on Keith Hunt? Okay. All right, we're going to take up Keith Hunt, and then after that, Norma Elizondo.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
This is a bond, it's a motion to set a bond. And I conferred with the district attorney, and we've agreed, if it's okay with the court, to set a $15,000 bond.
All right, I'll need him up here, though.
Okay.
All right,
I'll then-
thank you. Who's here on Norma Elizondo? And after Norma Elizondo, it will be Renee Torres.
She's not a Spanish speaker, right?
No.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
No problem. All right, is this a plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I have a stamp? Court is calling 2023 CR 4167, State of Texas versus Norma Elizondo. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Allie Jackson.
Oh, no, the other one for plea.
Miguel Hernandez for the defense.
All right, and are you Norma Elizondo?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Elizondo, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Elizondo, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand you're charged with assault, intentionally and knowingly, serious bodily injury by omission to a child? That's a first-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
I don't want to go into trial.
All right, so did you intend to give up those rights and enter into this plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
She has, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do, Your Honor.
Ms. Elizondo, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain agreement. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the punishment is to be assessed at 30 years in the prison and there are no applications. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense? State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions? Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
State offer states exhibit 1 with all attachments.
We had a chance to review, Your Honor. No objections.
Showing you what's entitled wavering consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We are, Your.
All right, and what is the current condition of the child?
She is she's recovering, Your Honor.
All right. All right, the court will follow your plea bargain agreement, sentence you to 30 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
No, Your
Going to show you what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal. Did you review that with your attorney I'm sorry, one other thing that I'm going to add to her sentencing is there is to be no contact with minors. Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's here on it? Renee Torres.
Self, Mr. Gary, yes. The Wisconsin Badgers, Your Honor, unfortunately.
All
King our wounds, Judge.
right, where's Mr. Torres?
He's present. Mr. Torres.
All right, are we proceeding?
Not at this time, Your Honor. There are some issues involved with this case that I think we mentioned previously.
Okay, yes.
Just now, I've talked to my supervisor about.
Okay, when would you like this call back?
We could get 30 days, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Ferguson. On Mr. Torres, can you give me a 45-day reset? You're welcome. I remember, my mind's a steel trap. All right, February 22nd.
That's fine, Judge.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Start out with it.
All right, who is here on Jasmine Gallegos? Court is calling 2024 CR 0105W, State of Texas versus Jasmine Lynn Gallegos. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
Your Honor, Jeffrey Martinez.
And are you Jasmine Gallegos?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Gallegos, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Community Supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, I'm going to show you what's entitled Waiver of Indictment, Reading of Information and Rights under Article 1.051 and 26.03 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to have a grand jury hear the evidence in this case and make a decision on whether or not to indict?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand also that your attorney has certain rights, namely 10 days from the presentation of the information to prepare for trial? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand that he is entitled to a passage of 2 days from the presentation of the information or indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived indictment, reading of information and rights under Article 1.051 and 26.03 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Showing you what's entitled Information. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the information?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the information as presented?
We are.
Ms. Gallegos, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that with your attorney?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon with a felony conviction? That is a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine, thank you, and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Gallegos, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial, showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's a $1,000 fine and state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing-
Sorry, the only thing I forgot to put in the paperwork, and I've just spoken with defense counsel about this, is the defendant is also agreeing to forfeit her rights to any of the weapons involved with the offense.
All right. Next, I'm showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
Yeah, Your Honor.
And did you also understand that as a part of the plea bargain agreement, you are to forfeit any weapons? Did you understand?
Right.
And are you in agreement to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Outside the plea bargain agreement, the state is requesting That's okay. Outside the plea bargain agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation and 180 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
ma'am.
Then to the information as filed, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 1 and the attachments.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right? I'm sorry, just one moment. I think there may be something missing. All right, I found it. All right, again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor, we just asked the court to follow the agreement.
All right, do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
How are you employed?
I'm currently unemployed at the moment.
Any drug use?
No, ma'am.
And if you were released, who would you be living with?
My grandmother.
Does she want you living with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you talked to her and she said she wants you living with her?
Yes, ma'am. I have a good support system out there with my family.
All right, you know you're not supposed to have weapons. Why do you have weapons?
I made a mistake, Your Honor.
No, you didn't. You made a choice. So why do you have weapons? You know you're not supposed to have them. A mistake is somebody gave you a bag, you didn't know weapons were in it, and then there were weapons. So why, you know you're not supposed to have weapons. Why are you having weapons?
Hanging with the wrong people.
If I ask the wrong people that you're saying that you're hanging out with, if I were to ask them the same questions, you know what they would tell me? Hanging out with the wrong people. And I would say, well, who is that? And they'd say, Miss Gallegos. All right, I'm going to sentence you to 5 years in prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. There's to be a TAP evaluation and MIC evaluation in custody. And also a gang evaluation in custody. There's to be 180 hours community service restitution. She's not allowed to buy that out. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And I'm going to ask for the UA hotline. And while you're on probation, you're not allowed to have any weapons. All weapons seized are to be forfeited, along with any magazines and ammunition. And there's to be no contact with Michael Lee Kilgore. And there's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. And regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. Isaac Alcorta. Hello. Good morning. So what is happening with this case?
Well, Judge, Mr. Alcorta, there's some question as to some of the cases that the state is trying to file indictments on, and I need to do some discovery because Mr. Alcorta has informed me that on a prior case he had, those were taken into consideration, and there's just several of cases that we have to go through, Your Honor.
All right, Norma, on this case, if I can have a 1 month reset.
No, I can do February 5th. No, hold on. Let's do February 12th.
All right, February 12th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Yeah. Deputy Laura.
You're gonna have to write now.
All right, who is here on James Kennedy? If you'll come forward, please. All right, there is some paperwork in here that should not be in here. Let me give this to you. And Norma also this. All right, court is calling 2023 CR 4168, State of Texas versus James Michael Kennedy. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Allie Jackson, state.
Defense.
And Con Hyde for the citizen accused.
Are you Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, I am, Judge.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
I believe I received all the discovery. The client got to see the entire file and the SIPs today and went on at his very own pace. I believe the state has complied with 39.14.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. All right, your attorney, your client hasn't signed this. Ms. Berkeley, could you hand that to him, please? Sorry. All right, did you review the document entitled application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Reading over it right now, Judge, yes.
Okay. All right, next I'm going to show you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We waive the reading.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
By indictment, you're charged with assault, intentionally annoying serious bodily injury by omission of a child. That's a first-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, I did.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to life in prison and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, he has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he understands the charges.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Do so believe.
Mr. Kennedy, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
I am, yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page, did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 35 years in the prison. The state opposes your application. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
We have a pending motion for a bond here who's never been ruled on.
Okay. All right. Outside the agreement, I'm showing you the state is requesting that there be no contact with Michelle Kennedy and there be an affirmative finding of family violence. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to the offense is charged in the indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
State offers takes exhibit 1 with all attachments.
No objection, Your Honor. My client got to read it at his own pace today.
Showing you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
I
right.
did.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments. Court has reviewed the same. The court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. We'll come back on February 15th. At that time, I'll make a decision on your application, and I'll make that decision based upon any evidence that's presented to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. When asked the court to consider reducing his bond to 30,000, that motion went to Judge Carruthers and never surfaced. I
All
had
right.
asked about it. He feels he can find some items that would be exculpatory or less than his culpability in this case.
All right, State, are you ready to hear that motion?
We can, Your Honor, yeah.
All right, we'll proceed on your motion to reduce bond. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
No, just, James, can you make a $30,000 bond?
Yes.
Okay. And yes, court to make your bond 30,000 out of the pledge, not and take away the $150,000 bond.
Yes.
Okay. Will you remain here in San Antonio? If
Yes.
you make bond, okay.
Yes.
All right, motion to reduce bond is denied. If GPS has not been added, the court will add full GPS. Is there anything else?
Nothing.
All right, thank you. All right, excuse me. It's going to be February 22nd. That's when counsel, the sentencing will take place on February 22nd.
Okay, I'm coming on the 7th on the other guy.
All right, thank you.
Just have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat.
Who's here on Marie Cook, Desiree, Marie Cook?
I am right.
Court is calling 2023 CR 10009, State of Texas versus Desiree Marie Cook. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Marshall D. White, Your Honor.
And are you Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
As far as I know, I have, and I did, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Cook, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it?
Yes.
Showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are.
Ms. Cook, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand you're charged with the offense of retaliation? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent? Okay, you need to quit whispering.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
She has, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do, Your Honor.
Ms. Cook, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived a right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, there's a $500 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration 2023 CR 10010, and there's to be restitution, if any, to Denise Summer Valdez. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Defense?
Your Honor.
State? Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, they have not, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 4 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 160 hours of community service restitution and no contact with Denise Summer Valdez. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense as charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 1 in the attachments.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Going to show you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state would be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence state's exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge, if that will please the court.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, respectfully, Judge, I think Ms. Cook has learned a very valuable lesson. I believe that she will be able to successfully complete deferred adjudication probation if the court will so to grant her application.
All right, Ms. Cook, what lesson have you learned?
I learned my lesson.
I'm sorry, what?
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, what lesson was learned?
Not to be around, not to be around people that I shouldn't be around with.
Well, according to the police report, you were drinking and then were accused of taking money. I'm not saying the taking of the money was true or not, but I think one of your lessons you need to learn is you cannot drink till intoxication. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And while you're on probation in this court, you're not allowed to drink alcohol. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any children? What do you do for a living?
I was working, but then once I got locked up, I stopped going. I didn't have my job.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was working at EBD. It was making machines, icing machines.
All right. So when's the last time you had employment?
Like a couple of days before I got arrested.
So how are you supporting yourself?
Well, I was working, but then now my boyfriend's helping me.
All right. All right, this is what I can tell you. You can't depend on other adults to support you because if your boyfriend stops supporting you, then what are you going to do?
Get a job.
Well, on probation here, you're going to be required to get a job. You understand?
Okay.
4 years deferred adjudication, $500 fine that will be probated. Taking consideration 2023 CR 10010. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Does your boyfriend have any children?
It's not.
There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. There's to be 160 hours of community service restitution. Going to do a TAP evaluation If the TAP recommends inpatient treatment, we'll start with outpatient treatment. I'm going to want 90 sober meetings in 90 days. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular random UAs. Field visits. One time per month for 3 months. Then thereafter, at the discretion of probation, there's to be no contact with Denise Summer Valdez, and restitution, if any, to Denise Summer Valdez. Counsel, if there's an issue with the restitution amount, you can come back.
Thank you very much.
All right, probation, is there anything else you need? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
Gotta speak up, Ms. Cook.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you very much, Judge.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. I
Thank
don't
you.
have this.
Okay, Ms. Cook, probation.
Paper cut? Oh, paper cuts are the worst. Thank you. Oh, my gosh.
Those are horrible.
On that, I'd always, do I need snitches? Who's here on Nicholas Lopez? Nicholas Lopez? Court is calling 2019 CR 0957, State of Texas versus Nicholas Zachariah Lopez.
Orlando Castanon for defense.
And are you Mr. Nicholas Zachariah Lopez?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled motion to revoke community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Nicholas Zachariah Lopez who was placed on community supervision in 2019 CR 0957 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams on April 11, 2019 for a term of 6 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
This is on the first amended motion to revoke, Judge.
All right, just one moment. Did you review the document entitled First Amendment Motion to Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Violated condition number 1, on or about the 28th day of November 2023 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Nicholas Zachariah Lopez, committed the offense of possession of a controlled substance, PG1, in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
And Your Honor, we waive the other violations alleged in the motion.
Any objections?
No, Judge.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 1, the court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you to 6 years in prison and up to $1,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Your Honor. We're asking that you grant the motion and revoke the defendant and sentence him to 6 years in prison. And in consideration of that, the state is going to take into consideration the new number 1. I actually find it positive for that. File number for that new number 1 is NIGhtMag 740285.
All right, counsel, is that the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Mr. Lopez, are you asking the court to follow that agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the court will follow your agreement, sentence you, grant the motion, revoke, sentence you to 6 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. Take in consideration NIGhtMag number 740285. There's a $1,000 fine. Time and money is to run concurrent. If you would like to be placed in the therapeutic community, I can request that and they'll help you with any drug issues you have. It does not increase the amount of time that you are in custody. Would you like that? It's completely up to you.
Not at this point. No.
All right. Going to show you what's entitled trial court certification and its rights to appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record.
Hey,
If
Judge,
you,
I'm
yes,
sorry, did you grant him any time for time served?
I gave him credit for any time, sir.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Lopez, you're gonna have to change your ways. Otherwise, the next time you come back here, you may come back as a repeater or either as a habitual. And if you're a repeater, you know that that increases your prison time if convicted. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, who's here on Luis Henry? Okay, all right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break, everyone. All right, after Henry, it's gonna be Hunt. And then after Hunt, yeah. So everyone, please confer. Santabanez.
Come back in 1:30. Judge.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, why were you late for court?
I was in the wrong courtroom, Your Honor.
All right. I see this is his first time on the docket, so now you know where the courtroom is. Do not be late again. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you have all the discovery?
So Judge, I was discussing with counsel, there was two new cases that were from November of 2023, I think the 28th.
Mhm.
Those haven't been indicted yet. We hadn't had a chance to take a look at those.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on Santabanez,
Yes,
can I have a 30-day reset for discovery?
Yes, ma'am. We can do February 8th.
All right,
And Judge, just so the court's aware, those cases haven't been indicted yet, but my understanding is that defense counsel has been put on those cases.
That is correct, Judge.
all right. So we'll see you back on February 8th. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
You too, Judge.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Actually,
Christopher Davis. Hello. So what are the pretrial motions that there are issues on?
The only two you haven't agreed to are the motion requesting a list of physical evidence and the motion requesting a list of persons contacted or interviewed.
All right. So with regards to the motion of list of physical evidence, have you turned everything over to the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. After talking with defense counsel, he wants us to kind of narrow it down and label which evidence we plan to use, which we're not going to do, Your Honor. But the list that was provided by the police, he does have. Your
All right,
Honor.
so it will be done if I
Yeah.
order it.
Yes.
All right. All right, we're gonna go on the record. Court is calling 2022 CR 7283 State of Texas versus Christopher Brent Davis. Could our parties announce for the record for the state,
Alan Jackson for the state.
for the defense?
Robert Barrett.
All right, and are you Mr. Davis?
Yes, Your Honor.
My understanding is that the only issues before the court are motions that the state has not agreed to. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
All right, what is the title of those motions?
Motion requesting a list of physical evidence and motion for a list of persons contacted or interviewed.
All right, so let's start up with the motion requesting a list of physical evidence. Defense.
Judge, there is an enormous volume of evidence in this case. Just the number of items itself that were seized is in the dozens. And on those items, there are terabytes of data. So it's like a needle in a haystack for us to prepare for trial, trying to figure out what do we need to know, what do we need to be aware of and prepared for. So I'm just, again, like the state said, asking them to narrow it down. Tell me what you're going to introduce so I know what I'm looking at.
All right, state.
The state would argue that under the code, we have provided all the evidence and that any discussion or attempt to limit us by specifying what exact evidence we intend to introduce would be our work product, and it would be limiting us in case something changes in terms of adapting for trial, Your Honor.
I understand that. And counsel, the motion.
Judge, I'm not saying they couldn't supplement that list later.
No. I hear what you're saying. And I always try to say, is there something that we can work out? Because I understand there's volumes upon volumes of evidence. So state, are you able, I'm going to deny the motion, but I'm wondering, are you able to give him some type of idea of specifically what you all will be using? He understands that if something comes up through some testimony, the evidence that you may not have attended to use, but he has knowledge of it, you may use. But are you able to do that to give him some idea?
Definitely not today, Your Honor, but as we do approach and prepare for trial, we will be able to kind of talk with him through it.
All right, I'm going to deny the motion, but you all are attorneys and colleagues. I'm sure you all will be able to pare down what specifically will be here.
Yeah, the state doesn't intend to try to hide the fault or anything, Your Honor. So we'll make sure that if there's something big he wants to focus on, we will definitely let him know.
All right. And then the last motion is and counsel, of course, I will set this for jury trial to give you ample time to review that. And I note that the other person who's on this case is Ms. Kramer, is that correct?
Yes, Judge, she's in another court right now.
All right, so the motion for the list of persons contacted or interviewed. I mean, that would be, I'm thinking that's your witness list.
Yes, so anything beyond that, we agreed to a witness list, and then obviously if anybody gives us any sort of statement, we agree to turn it over, but if there's somebody, we just kind of have conversation. It seems the request itself is seems to be looking for like a specific, this is every person I've talked to type of thing.
Well, and again, Judge, we're asking for that because of the volume of people involved in this case, that, there may be witnesses or people that they've talked to that they don't think had anything relevant to say, but I think might be relevant. And I'm not going to know that if I don't know who it was.
Well, everything that, in terms of witnesses, statements gathered by police, he has access to all of that. And so if we were going to talk to somebody outside of everything that he knows, we would be disclosing that to begin with, Your Honor.
All right, and does this include a single work product or no?
That's kind of the impression I'm getting is that it's looking to ask for work product, which we're not.
Judge, I mean, everybody that they've spoken to is a potential witness, so it seems to me they have an obligation to disclose those anyway.
All right, so State, have you turned over all evidence to defense?
That we currently have, yes, Your Honor.
All right, and I'm assuming that evidence, because it's required to be, I'm assuming the evidence would be any witnesses that they've spoken to.
Yes.
Should be in discovery. If it's not, then that's something we will take up. So it should be in discovery. I'm not going to require them to give you a specific list of everybody that they've spoken to. It should be in the discovery that they turn over to you. Now, if they're providing you with a witness list, then their witnesses need to be in a list. But as far as them giving you every single thing of everybody they've spoken to and writing down a list out for you, that's going to be denied.
And I don't know if we've done the witness list yet, but we did agree with him that for the expert witness list, so we'll be turning over a full comprehensive witness list, Your Honor.
All right. And how long do y'all expect this jury trial to last?
2 weeks.
Is there video?
There is, I don't know, I don't think it's a super crazy long one. I do know, and we've informed the court that our victim is coming, she's currently in Nebraska, so she will be coming we'll have to be coordinating interstate travel.
All right, are you in agreement to letting the witness appear by Zoom, or you want them here physically?
I'd like to be here physically, Judge.
All right, so Ms. Ferguson, I need a jury trial date, and it'll be a week-long jury trial.
Judge, I have a copy of the order that discovery motion order that Ms. Braxton and I went over that we've marked up for agreement.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we spent some time going through it.
I appreciate that. And the date for your jury trial will also be your plea deadline date.
All right, Judge.
I think you. April 9th or.
April 9th is your jury trial date. All right, thank you. April 9th.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm scheduled to be out of state starting April 14th, so I think we'd be running up against, that's a Sunday actually, so the
Let's
9th
see.
would be 13th.
And Your Honor, Anna Joy Nelson for the record.
Mhm.
I am out of the state as well.
Okay, what's the other date?
May. I can do May 7th.
All right, May 7th is your date.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, that's done.
Yeah.
Still coming back at 1:30, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'll do that. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll be back.
All right, everyone, we're going to take our lunch break. So see y'all back at 1:30. Yes. Yes.
He's here. Motion second, I said bond.
Okay,
And we have.
all right. If you can come back at 1:20, we'll take it up. Court reporter needs a break with him.